Language is a system that includes conventional spoken, manual, signed, or written symbols through which humans express themselves as members of a social group and participants in its culture. Language functions include communication, identity expression, play, imaginative expression, and emotional release. There have been numerous definitions of language presented. Language is the expression of ideas through speech sounds combined into words, said Henry Sweet, an English phonetician and language specialist. Words are integrated into sentences, which corresponds to the synthesis of ideas into thoughts. The American linguists Bernard Bloch and George L. Tridger defined language as a system of arbitrary vocal symbols through which a social group cooperates. Any concise explanation of language makes several assumptions and raises several questions. The first, for example, places an overwhelming emphasis on thought, whereas the second utilizes arbitrary in a specialized, but acceptable, context. Every physiologically and intellectually normal individual learns as a kid to use a system of communication that consists of a limited number of symbols, example sounds, gestures, or written or typed characters, as both sender and receiver. This sign set in spoken language comprises noises produced by movements of particular organs within the throat and mouth. These symbols in signed languages can be hand or body movements, gestures, or facial expressions. People can use these symbols to convey information, express sentiments and emotions, influence the actions of others, and comport themselves with varied degrees of friendliness or antagonism toward people who employ a similar set of symbols. Separate communication methods constitute separate languages. The degree of variation required to establish a different language cannot be specified precisely. Because no two persons speak precisely alike, one may recognize the voices of friends on the phone and distinguish a number of unseen speakers in a radio broadcast. However, no one would argue that they speak different languages. In general, communication systems are regarded as different languages if they cannot be understood by both parties without specific learning, albeit the precise limits of mutual intelligibility are difficult to define and belong on a scale rather than on either side of a particular dividing line.